crazy because you talk about the shit with so many people. Like you talk about the business, you talk about the personal content, you talk about all the stuff that we're trying to do. And anytime you have the conversation, 9 times out of 10, not exaggerating, people look at me and they're like, oh, nice. I believe in you. You'll do it. And you know it doesn't mean shit. There's no substance behind their words. There's no certainty behind what they say. When I talk to Mario, he looks at me, he's like, you guys are going to fucking do it.
Yeah, dude.
You're going to fucking do it. And I look up to you and I love the way you guys are running things and I can't wait to see how far you guys go. And message me when you guys make it. Like he says that shit, but it's not blowing smoke up our ass. And you feel it. You need those
so good,
people
dude.
in your life. And the more time you spend hanging out with people that believe in you, the more you're going to believe in you.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the trigger that allows you to propel yourself past the self-doubt, past your complete insecurities that are built up by these blind walls. And a necessary prerequisite to getting past that are people that believe in you. And it doesn't matter who it is. They just have to have that genuine belief in you.
To have someone believe in us, to have one person see a spark in us, helps us recognize, it helps us see the spark in ourselves. You know,
Rob, agree.
I think it takes only one person, whether it's a friend or a coach or a parent, a boss sometimes, you know, who says, almost all of us can remember one person in our lives, whether it's a coach or a teacher who took us under their wing so we didn't say. Every single successful person on the planet has that person.
Dude, like to me, that even hits me now, man. It's like, I don't know. You know, a lot of people, especially guys like me, you know, growing up and all you feel like is no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter how hard you try in school and sports or whatever, you're just never good enough. When you grow up like that, the only thing you really want is someone that just believes in you.
Yeah, validation.
Regardless of what you do, regardless of how people perceive you, regardless of this scoreboard at the end of the game, you just want somebody that just fucking believes in you. To me, it's like, that's everything. It's everything. Because every time I go out and I try and build a business, or I'm on the soccer field and I'm trying my best, and it's not enough, and it's not good enough, and I miss the mark, what's left is just the people that believe in you. Like, that's what keeps me going. Like, to me, I look back and I think about growing up when, you know, I didn't make varsity, or growing up when, whatever, like any inadequacies, or a good example is during wrestling season when I sucked ass. It's like, you know, what got me through that wasn't me. It was honestly my dad. Like he actually believed in me. I never had that with anything, with anybody, ever. I never had that within myself. So to me, like the biggest thing, like the number one thing, especially for the people that are getting after it and don't feel like you're good enough, is to find those people that believe in you. And it's hard. It's really fucking hard. And I got blessed enough to have a parent that really fucking believed in me so blindly, to the point where he instilled this stupidly dumb, blind, ignorant, beyond belief confidence within me, to the point where I believed that even when I didn't think I was good enough, even when I sucked at the end of the game, even when I wasn't meeting the mark in whatever area of life, I felt like I could still get after it the next day, and I could wake up and say, you know what, although yesterday didn't end well, I can try again today, and we're going to see how it goes. That was instilled in me with a force that wasn't my own. And I don't know where I would be if I didn't have that. Like, I just genuinely don't. And to me, it's like, I see so many people that have so much potential, and I see it all the time where they just don't try because they don't believe in themselves, because no one ever has. And it's like, jeez, man.
It's because we've talked about it a lot. It's like, from the inside looking out, it's almost like you as the individual that's being looked at as someone who has like this amazing potential that can be dangerous. It's, to you, it's hidden. To you, it's so hard to see.
Yeah.
And if for a lot of people, if no one points that out, a lot of times that potential never gets actualized. And you know, I say it to a lot of my friends, and I say it to like a lot of my like the close, you know, group of friends that I've developed over this past like year, along with you, you know, and you know, if you're watching, you know who you are, and I say this a lot, and it's like I just see so much potential in them, but I also get the intuitive instinct that they don't believe in themselves.
Right.
And it's not to say that, and the reason why I see so much potential in them is because they already have the innate desire to want to, for instance, improve their lives, want to, for instance, have deep philosophical conversations, want to better the world, are a positive force for change. And a lot of times, I think and I forget who I was talking to about this, but you know, they were saying like how it just gets, because I told them, I was like, I just see so much potential in you. I see how you can be so good. I could see how you could be doing all this amazing things. And that's why I have conversations with you like this and that and the fourth. And I remember they said it, I get what you're saying, but I just deal with so many mental struggles that it's tough to really believe that, you know what I mean? And the only really way to change that is really, even if someone says it to them, I agree with you that it is important to always have that signpost and group of people and environment around you to keep pushing you, to keep going forward, right? But like at the end of the day, it's you. You know what I mean? Like you're the person, they can't do it for you. You're the person that has to do it. And of course, like if you have people around you that can help, that definitely helps. Right. But if you're the only person that's doing that and you have all these demons in your head, you're kind of in a shitstorm where you're all alone. And a lot of times if you have these actions and behaviors and they're not getting to the results that you want, and they're not getting the kind of external kind of situations and circumstances that you want to arise, then a lot of the times it just leads to this kind of like, okay, I'm going to start to do my own thing, but then you don't see the results, I don't know, a couple weeks, couple months, right? And then it just leads them back to square one. And you know, I think that's tough, you know, because it's a part of their external environment, but it's also a part of them, who they are too. And of course, it's way easier with someone else in their life, to, like, for instance, your dad or a supportive friend or a mom that can keep pushing you forward. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, if you're a person who has those kind of mental struggles, those demons in your head, even if you have someone around you, take a step back and take that bird's eye view and really just analyze your life. Like, okay, what habits do I have now? And what habits can I turn them into? Because I at the end, like we say this a lot with video editing, right? Like anybody can become a good editor. Anybody can. And anybody, you know what I mean? And it's not this, obviously, you know, there's things that require genetics, right? There's things that require, you know, that kind of like external forces. Absolutely. But there's a lot of things, especially if you're in the Western side of the world and, you know, a lot of other places too, where you can develop so many great skills. It just requires discipline and requires the right mindset and small baby steps and consistency to get there. So if your mind is saying something, for instance, like you can't become a good video editor, or you can't get in good shape, or you can't get a girlfriend, or you can't be a good husband, understand that that's a lie. Yeah. That's fallacious based on the simple fact that you can, right? It's not this just like, oh, he's going to be a good husband. Oh, he's going to be a good video editor. Of course, like, you know, there's different forces, but I'm telling you from personal experience and the things that I've observed in my own life, as well as the things that I've read, you can develop that skill and you can kind of be a positive force for change in your life and change that mindset that you've always had and those demons in your head, and kind of reinforce that along with the people in your life as well too. So you really can develop that kind of skill, that trait, and begin to believe in yourself. It's simply a matter of an intellectual habit at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like immediately what I think of is, you know, we were at the camp this past week.
Yeah.
Right. So we're at a basketball camp. We're seeing some elite basketball players there.
Yeah.
And they're playing knockout. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, and I'm like literally thinking to myself, I don't fucking play basketball. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, I could kick these kids' ass. Whether that's true or not, the answer is probably no. But my true, honest thought was, I could fucking win this game and knockout.
Yeah, we had so many conversations where
my honest thought was, I could beat these fucking kids and knockout. When in reality, if I went out there, I probably would have got my ass handed to me. But to think about that in a deeper sense, it's like, where does that blind, stupid, ignorant, stubborn belief come from? It's from my dad. Truly. Because anything I did ever, whether it was a music endeavor, school, sports, anything, he had this blind faith in me where there was no evidence of me being good at anything ever. And he would have this blind faith in me and would tell me indirectly and directly that he believed in me.
Why do you think that was the case?
I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. He just fucking believed in me. He still does to this day.
So, like, what does he say and stuff like that?
I have no idea. But, like, a good example. You know, and this fucking dude, this fucking kills me, man. Because, like, you know, like, you know the ins and outs of it. But, like, my dad will come to, like, I don't want to, you know, spill his shit. But he'll come to me and he'll fucking, like, just try and give me, like, when I went to the Carolinas, he tried to give me $200 to just give to me to go. And I didn't need it. And he knew I didn't need it. And I forced him to take it back. But like, he does stuff like that all the time, man. And it's like, the reason why he does that is because he knows that it's going to come back to him. He knows that in some sort of way it's an investment because he knows that I'm going to make it. Him giving me his money, his energy, his time, his fucking AirPods, just giving them to me. The reason why he's giving those to me is because, you know, A, he fucking loves me. He doesn't care about, you know, a thing or money. He cares about me, but he has this such blind faith in me that even though I have never proved that I can make it in business, that he knows I'm going to get there. Nobody treats me like that. Nobody does. And that's why it's like, intimate relationship or not, you need that person, especially in an intimate relationship. It's like, to me, it's like, you know, I don't, again, where we started this whole thing, it's like, I look at relationships in a way where, you know, everybody has different values, and that's fine. But for me personally, I just need someone that fucking believes in me, man. Like somebody that after a hard fucking day, when I take a bunch of L's, I can go back home and she can sit there and be like, I still fucking believe in you. That's far and few, man. Far and few to come across these kinds of people that, regardless of the outcomes that you've delivered, still believe in you as a human being. And to me, that's, I know that's what I value at the top. Because how else am I going to get there? Because there's going to be so many days, there's going to be more days than not where I'm sitting there, I'm like, who the fuck am I? I can't do it. I've never done anything like this in my life. Why me? Why am I going to be the guy to do it? Why am I going to be the black sheep in my whole ancestry of family to be the first one to make over $1 million? Why is it going to be me? It's like, yeah, I could say, well, I'm disciplined. I'm disciplined this way. I'm consistent in this way.
You know what's funny? When you say that, I believe you. And like you said, it's just like when you say certain things to people, vice versa. So like, say you're saying that to me,
right?
I'm not saying I don't know, but like when you say that to me, do you think I believe you?
Yeah.
Okay. When you say that to your mom, do you believe she believes you?
No.
Okay. What's that difference?
It's the feeling of certainty. It's the way you say it. Like you can't nail. If we want to go down to the psychological aspects of it, we can look into it. There's probably a certain tone of voice you use. There's probably a quickness of the response. There's probably a certain gaze in your eyes, a certain way that your eyebrows are furrowed.
Yeah. But it's also like when I'm editing a video, right?
Right.
And I'm not like rationally thinking about it, right? I can just I can tell when something's off, right? And vice versa, right? It's just that kind of intuitive knowing. It's this like higher intelligence that you have within you. It's like this creative where the ideas just come out of nowhere. You don't know how they got there. You just know. Right.
It's like when you're at a bar and you're talking to someone and you just hit it off. How do you know you hit it off?
Just know.
It's not a thing they said.
Yeah.
It's not a compliment they gave you. It's a feeling you have. It's that spark. Okay, define the spark. You can't. Yeah. It's a feeling. But the same thing goes with the belief somebody has in you, blindly or not. Yeah. If somebody believes in you and you have that feeling of like, fuck, it feels good to talk to this person because they believe in me as a human being. They believe that I'm going to make it. They believe I'm going to be successful. You can't narrow it down to specific things they say and do because anybody can tell you, I believe in you. You're going to totally make it. I know you're going to be successful. It doesn't mean shit. It's just a bunch of fucking words.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It's not backed by any.
It's a feeling.
Yeah.
And that's the feeling you need to have with your tight-knit circle. Because if you're imagine what's going to happen to your life.
Sorry. What is that backed by? Like when you, because like you just said, when someone says like, oh, you're going to do it, you're going to do so well, you're going to make it, like you said, it's just words. I know, I understand it's backed by a sense of certainty, right? But like, what else is it backed by? Right? Like
when someone actually believes?
When you compare like when someone, like a positive person,
right,
just says, yeah, you're going to make it, you're going to do so well, but that's just because they're a positive person, right? As opposed, and they don't know, right? Like that belief of certainty isn't there. So it's all like you said, words, right? It's not, there's no substance there.
Right.
What is that substance when you know? Like it's backed by a sense of true innate belief. Right. Because when someone, you can just tell when someone is kind of just in that autopilot, response kind of mode, right? And they're not, like in general in conversations, right? And you can tell when they're not really in a conversation versus when they're engaged in a conversation.
Right.
And, you know, especially nowadays, I feel a lot of times people don't, a lot of times when I'm having conversations with people, I can tell very easily, maybe just based on who I am, if they're kind of invested in the conversation based on the kind of responses that they're having to me. You know, and that's dependent on the conversation. Yeah, exactly. And I think because when you have that kind of conversation where you could tell they're present, when you can tell they're there, there's this kind of, I guess you could say, attachment and kind of smooth fit that you both like unconsciously or consciously know. You like, you're talking to this person and you're like, yeah, this feels right. Like, yeah,
You're
this
engaged.
is a good conversation, and you want it to keep going. Versus when you're having a conversation with someone and you're like, oh fuck, like am I just gonna keep asking questions to keep the conversation going? Like, it's getting kind of awkward. We should probably end this conversation. So like, Jen, I'm just using it as an example because when you're talking to someone that believes in you, right? It's like that smooth fit. It's like that belief. It's that sense of certainty that's backed by that true belief, right? And what they're saying to you has substance under it, right? And so, to me, it just, because we talked about this a little while ago, and I forget. I think we were talking about it at my apartment, right? And I said to you, you were like, you know, we won't bring up the specific examples, but I think you were just like, man, there's such few people in my life that believe in me, and we started talking about it, and it's like, damn, bro, like. There's a lot of people in our lives that I feel too don't believe in me. And it's interesting to think about because when you are talking, or when you really know who believes in you versus who doesn't, it's almost like no matter how many times you break a, and Alex Ramonzi says, people don't want the best for you, right? They want the best version that they think of you, right? So the best version that suits them the best, right? And if you deviate from that mold, right, a lot of the times when you're talking to them, it's going to be that autopilot kind of, for instance, like when I'm talking to a friend about my business, right, that kind of strays away from, you know, getting a 9-to-5, getting like a normal job, right? You can tell they're like, oh yeah, that's really cool, like, you know, things like that. When you deviate from that quote-unquote best version of you, that concrete mold, that what they're used to, right, and the conversation starts to get a little bit uncomfortable, that's when you can tell that difference. And to me, it makes a lot of sense because, especially because like the specific lane we're in, we're just quote-unquote, we're different, you know, from objectively speaking, we're very different from the concrete mold of society, you know, based on us starting our own business, based on our own personal beliefs and values and things of that nature. And I can easily tell when I'm talking to someone if they're like, if they genuinely want to talk about, for instance, sports videography, or if they just kind of want to keep the conversation on them. And I know that's kind of like a messy example and I was going all over the place, but I couldn't agree more with you, man, that like, there's such little people that I intuitively believe in me. And I'm not saying I'm trying to force them to believe in me, but when you do have that person in your life that genuinely asks you about your, for instance, business, or genuinely asks you about your passion, it just feels so good. And you almost kind of, in a sense, you need that validation to keep going forward.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, especially if you're starting out, and you haven't done anything major with your life, you haven't built a successful business, you haven't made it in whatever version of success that you're going after. If you're in that spot and you actually want to get there, you can only surround yourself with people that believe in you. Because there's going to be so many days where you're sitting there and you don't believe in yourself. And the only thing that's going to get you to keep going with that blind, ignorant, stupid, stubborn faith is going to be the people that believe in you. It's going to be the people that believe in you blindly and stubbornly and ignorantly, even though you haven't built a successful business yet, even though you haven't gotten yourself into amazing physical shape yet, even though you haven't brought yourself to this amazing version of whatever that version of you. Those people that have that blind faith in you are going to be those same people that keep you going. That's your gas. Because you're going to run out. Because you haven't done anything yet. You haven't built anything successful yet. You haven't made yourself into the version of you that you want to build. So how can you say that you can do it if you've never done it? You have no path because it's never been paved. Because you're on the spot that you're in and the future doesn't exist. And so until you're at the spot where you've actually done it, the only thing that's going to keep you going are people that actually believe in you. Because how are you supposed to sit there and say, I've never built a successful business before and we're bankrupt and we have nothing going for us?
I kind of disagree with that statement.
Why?
Like, the statement that you said, the only thing that's, or correct me if I'm wrong, I think I'm going to paraphrase it, but like the only thing that's going to keep you going is people that believe in you, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Because at least in my own personal experience, right? Like I would do things such as YouTube. I would do things such as content creation and even weightlifting, right? Like if I'm looking back correctly, right? I did these things all myself, right? I didn't have people like you. I didn't have people like, Dalton and things like that, right? Because they didn't really know about it and they weren't like as invested as they are now into it, right? It was really my own endeavor, right? And I'm not saying it was easy. I'm not saying, it was kind of like the most...
Right, but why did you keep going?
Because I wanted to.
Why?
Right. Because of... It was a passion that I developed,
right?
And it's something that I loved, right? And so... And I knew, we can go back on the, like, I said this to Cole a while ago, and I was like, back in like episode 4 when we were in his living room with, the camera like up there at the ceiling, like, oh my God, so bad. Way more high quality than this. But I said to him, I was like, I don't know how, I don't know why, I just know this is going to work out, right? And it's like, and I was thinking I was going to probably do this full time, like YouTube full time at the time. And of course, that's changed a little bit. But like when I think back to me starting my YouTube channel, or when I think back to, I really didn't have those people in my life that kind of, and maybe this was like a personal issue, that I felt comfortable going to them and sharing, right? And so it was in that sense, and I'm not saying this is the right thing to do, I kept it to myself, right? And day in and day out, I mean, I never shared my YouTube channel on, for instance, Instagram. I never shared like things like that, and feel free to interrupt me at any point. But I just did that stuff because I inherently loved it, and that to me is what pushed me forward and what kept me going.
Right, but it's like, I think I get where you're going from, but I think you're looking at it a little bit too concretely, black and white, square. Okay. Because it's not like I feel like I can't do it. I feel like I don't believe in myself, and then I go and I have a conversation with my dad, and then that's my gasoline. It's like, I grew up with my dad. Okay. That belief in myself came from somewhere. Okay. Like, take your YouTube thing, for example. I don't know who those influences were on you growing up.
But someone instilled those beliefs.
Maybe it was your first grade teacher. Maybe it was your principal. Maybe it was a friend's mom that you spent a lot of time with, who just looked at you and you had that feeling for the first time in your life, if it wasn't your parent or whoever, where you're like, oh shit, like they trust me to do this. Like they trust me. Like when I was younger, my dad talks about the story all the time. When I was younger, my dad got the newest, biggest, baddest camera. It was like 2007, 2008.
Was that the one we brought to New York? That lens?
I don't know.
Oh my God, I think it was huge.
Yeah, but it was, but it was for that, it was that camera. My dad got the newest, biggest, baddest camera. And at the time, I was probably like 6 or 7 years old, if that. And at the time, it was super expensive lens, yada, yada. And he literally let me and my sister, who were 6 and 7 at the time, hold the camera, play around with it, take pictures, whatever.
That's cool.
And people would flip out, like, why are you letting the kids hold the camera? Why are you letting the kids do this? Why are you letting the kids do that? My dad was like, relax. Like, I trust my kids. Like, but they're 6 and they're 7. Relax. It's my camera. I trust my kids. We never broke the camera. We never dropped the camera, to my knowledge. Who did that create me into today?
Fascinating.
Who did that create me into today? Who I am now? Why do I believe myself so blindly? Sometimes it shows up as ego, but sometimes when I keep going and nobody else can, it's because of that. It's because my dad lets me hold the camera, even though everyone else says, why the fuck you let him hold the camera?
Makes
And so I sit here and I keep posting and I keep building a business and I keep working out and I keep going to practice and I keep trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. But why? It's because there's a deep inherent belief in myself
That makes sense.
that was implanted through my dad. And I don't know where I would be, who I would be, if I would still be disciplined if I didn't have my dad instilling that belief in me to date. But it's like, it's so easy to write that off because a lot of people just don't see that.
Yeah.
They don't look at the camera example and think, holy shit, that's right. He did trust you. He did have this blind, stupid faith in you. Most 6-year-olds probably would end up dropping the camera. But for some reason, my dad trusted me. And even if I dropped the camera, he would still give it to me. Still. That's just how he was with everything. Even if I fucked up, it was never, oh my God, I should have never let you. No. It was, you make mistakes, do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
So the mindset you want to have.
And now I am where I am today. I don't know if he was thinking about that consciously or unconsciously, but that blind faith was instilled in me. And so when I'm sitting here and I'm unsuccessful in any of my endeavors, the reason why I believe in me is because of him. Because he believed in me. I don't know any other way to do that. When you're a young kid and you're growing up and you're going through it, how are you supposed to believe in yourself? You're 6 years old. That belief is instilled within you through somebody else. And for me, it was my dad.
Yeah, because I was thinking, when you were talking about, like, it was like 10, 15 minutes ago, when you were saying how it's almost like, to me, that reminds me a lot of, like, the book that I read about forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, fortunately, a lot of the stuff I read, since I read like 5 pages at a time, goes in one ear and out the other.
Right.
But one of the things that fascinated me about that book, and what I think parallels a lot with your dad's mindset towards you as a kid and trusting you, is, I think, a little story. I think what happened was, I think it was like this drunk driver killed this parent's kids, right, as they were driving. And so, the person that killed the parents' kids ended up going to jail, right? But later on, they met up, right? And what they quote unquote, according to the book, they forgave each other. They healed that wound, right? And what actually happened was, they ended up creating what they said a new story, right? They replaced that old one of being like, okay, yes, you killed my kid, right? And what they had, it was like, instead of having what they said was quote unquote a revenge cycle, where there's this resistance where it's just like, oh, you killed my kid, I never want to see you again, right? They talked it over, right? I forget exactly what the criteria was in order for them to have this quote unquote healing according to the book, but they talked it over and they created a new story, right? And they actually ended up creating a foundation together that spread, I believe, alcohol driving awareness or something along those lines. So the parents of the kid that was killed by the person that was driving drunk ended up becoming super close and creating an organization that can do such great things. And similar to your dad's mindset, right? Where he was saying, even if you smash the camera, even if you broke it, right? Brand new, probably like $10,000, right? Lens and body included, right? Your dad would still believe in you, still have that trust, still have that kind of idea in his head that, you know what, even though he smashed my brand new camera that I love a lot and it's going to cost me a lot of money to get back, I'm still going to trust him no matter how bad things get. So just like that parent that forgave the individual that killed their kid, no matter how bad things can get, you can always still forgive someone. You can still always believe in someone no matter how bad shit gets. And I think one of the core traits that humanity should develop is that mindset. Because to me, that is such a... when I see something like that, for instance, like the story I just shared, or that kind of mindset, I'm just like, damn, bro. That is such a admirable trait to have. Because imagine that. Good? Okay. Because imagine that, right? Like, imagine someone killing your kid and you forgive them. And then in addition to that, they become your friend. And then you do such great things. Do you think you would do that? Probably not.
All right.
But what kind of person does it take to do that?
Right.
And a fucking amazing person, right? So just like your dad, with this belief in yourself, or you as an individual, like me believing in you, you believing in me, no matter how bad things get, or me believing in a friend that is fat, overweight, doesn't care about himself, is negative.
Right.
So no matter who you come in contact with, you can implant that belief in them, and they can do such great things.
You can be that person for somebody else. And that's the thing I'm trying to do with myself right now, actually. It's like you can be the person that makes somebody else believe in themselves.
Yeah.
You can become that person for somebody else. Yeah. Because so many people have no one that believes in them to do anything at all. What if you can be that person for somebody else?
It's crazy.
Sometimes all it takes is a fucking text that says, listen, bro, I love you, and I know shit's hard right now, and I know that your parents don't believe in you, and I know that the odds seem like they're stacked against you. I just want you to know that I fucking believe in you.
Yeah.
Genuinely, from the bottom of my fucking heart, I believe in you.
When you say it, they'll know it's true.
100%.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, what if you can be that person for somebody else? It's like, to me, it's like, I never had that person until I thought about it. I was like, oh my God, I've had this person the whole time. The whole time. It's my dad the whole fucking time. It's like I'm sitting there and I'm like, why am I so stubborn? Why do I walk out here and think that I can do anything I fucking set my mind to? Why do I have this such blind, stubborn faith? And even if I fail, I think I can fucking do it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm so competitive. Because every single time, you could beat me 99 times. The 100th time, I'm still standing up and thinking, I can beat him this time. This time I can get him. Where does that blind faith come from? Because somebody else fucking believed in me. Yeah. The moral of the story is like, be that person for somebody else. Yeah. Be that fucking person for somebody else. Yeah.
And I've just kind of wanted to say this the whole episode. Mario, dude, I believe in you, man.
Fucking shout out to Mario, bro.
Dude, honestly, no, because we were talking about this.
Seriously.
We were talking about this a couple weeks ago, man.
Genuinely, brother.
And this is a direct message to you, man. And I think, because I watched the episode that you went on, and he was talking about his personal journey, and then we had that conversation about, you know, who do you think believes in you?
Yeah, bro.
And we both said, I was like, dude, one of the few people that I think believes in us is Mario.
Yeah.
Like, when he says it, I believe him. Right. It's that intuitive spark, that
certainty, bro.
Of certainty, that's like, damn. Yeah, he believes in me.
It's crazy because you talk about this shit with so many people. Like, you talk about the business, you talk about the personal content, you talk about all the stuff that we're trying to do. And anytime you have the conversation, 9 times out of 10, not exaggerating, people look at me and they're like, oh, nice. I believe in you. You'll do it. And you know it doesn't mean shit. There's no substance behind their words. There's no certainty behind what they say. When I talk to Mario, he looks at me, he's like, you guys are going to fucking do it.
Yeah, dude.
You're going to fucking do it. And I look up to you, and I love the way you guys are running things, and I can't wait to see how far you guys go. And message me when you guys make it. Like, he says that shit, but it's not blowing smoke up our ass. No. And you feel it.
Yeah, man.
You need those
so good,
people
dude.
in your life.
Yeah.
Like, Mario, I appreciate the compliments. I appreciate your blind belief in us. Like, it means a lot. Yeah. I'm not saying that because you're blowing smoke up our ass. I'm saying it because whether, I don't know what we've done or what way we've rubbed you the right way that you fucking believe in us, but like, it's appreciated.
Yeah.
And the more time you spend hanging out with people that believe in you, the more you're going to believe in you.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the trigger that allows you to propel yourself past the self-doubt, past your complete insecurities that are built up by these blind walls, preventing you from getting to the place that you...
parents and friends and things like that.
Shit that's just been imported into your subconscious brain through parents and teachers and friends' parents or whoever the fuck. Getting past that is a necessary prerequisite to getting past that are people that believe in you. And it doesn't matter who it is. They just have to have that genuine belief in you. And Mario, you're one of those fucking guys. So.
Yeah, dude. Because every morning he posts on his stories like,
yeah, man,
get the fuck out of your bed.
Yeah.
your bed's not that comfortable. And he posts a picture of him in the gym. And I know he's going to be, I know he's going to, like, whatever his goal is with the gym, I know he's going to accomplish it, right? Because he just has it.
Right.
And it's not a matter of if he has it or not, right? But I think I can see that belief in himself and it reflects outwards towards us. And so, like you said before, if you believe in yourself from your dad believing in you, people are going to see that. And then when you talk to them, they're going to believe in themselves because you believe in yourself.
Right. 100%. All right, man. Good talking with you,
Good
man.
talk, man.
Hell yeah. Peace.